What up, everyone, and welcome to Designated Reports Boxing Podcast. This is episode 15. We are your hosts, Louie and JD. What up, JD?
Yo, what's good, man? What you got there? What you got behind you there?
Yeah, man. So it's a little warmer down here in Florida, but I got the Designated Reports merch. You know what I mean? Sports cultures matters. You know how we do. I'm surprised you're not actually rocking yours today, bro. What's up with that?
I mean, I'm indoors, man. We're facing snowstorm number 7 in New York, so I'll have ample time to wear it.
You was rocking yours earlier this week.
Facts.
Okay, I'm with it. All right, so let's get into some boxing because there is a lot to talk about. Some great fights, some bad fights this weekend. We got to get into your boy because you was most excited about him coming back this year. And I got to say, he is Adrien Broner, the problem Broner, is good for boxing, right? So I'm for it. Now, let's get into his performance. Forget the guy's first name, but his last name was Santiago. What did you think about the performance? What did you like? What did you not like?
Best thing about that whole fight was the post-game press conference.
My man, yo, listen. If he stopped boxing, he could he tried rapping, but he could probably stand-up comedy, man. He is hilarious.
All right, remember how we love Snoop Dogg on Thriller? Why can't AB do the fight?
Same thing.
AB needs to do the fight.
Same thing.
Because if we're just talking about what we saw on Saturday, and remember the last episode of in December of the year, I said I wanted to see AB. That's the fight that I was most anticipating to see. And let's keep it a stack, man. He's been out of the ring for 2 years. I wasn't really impressed. So is it because he's been inactive, or is this the writing on the wall that he just doesn't have it anymore, right? And I saw the same thing that I've seen in previous fights. He doesn't want to let the hands go, right? And he should have got this guy up out of there, right? Because he's a world-class fighter. They threw up a stat, right, where it's only 3 other fighters that's 4 or 5 time division winners at a certain age. It was Mayweather, De La Hoya,
Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Adrian Broner.
Yeah. So AB is a hell of a fighter, but I think in this stage in his career, he probably just doesn't have it anymore. So I think the next fight will be more telling because he's saying that he needs to be more active. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
If you can fight in another 4 or 5 months, because if it's not better than this performance that we just seen, hang it up.
Well, you hit a lot of good points there. Let's keep it real. Like, he's also backhanded because he said he's broke. You know what I mean?
$13.
He was like, I got $13 in the bank account. I flipped it to 13 million. So you know what I mean? Part of that post interview we were talking about.
Yo, he got paid 13 mil for that fight?
No. No. But he's what I'm saying, he's promoting himself as AB does. Look, for being off 25 months or whatever, what I saw was that his conditioning was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
He did pick spots to fight in, so he did get a little lazy. But his talent with his experience versus this guy, should he have done better, maybe got him out of there? Yeah, but at the same time, like, this guy was undefeated. You're going to protect that 0 like nobody else's business. You know what I'm saying? So, we got to give that guy credit. He was off for, like you said, 2 years. So I didn't think it was a great performance. I guess it was like right around what I expected. But ultimately, I think it is good to get AB back. Like you said, depending on who's going to fight next, that's going to be really telling. He probably has like 4 or 5 decent fights left. So that's about 2 years, in my opinion. But
I'd say 3. But before we even switch, there's been a lot of controversy about the fight because a lot of people feel like Santiago won that fight.
Yeah, but look, we all know this was AB's coming back party, right? So you were going to have to beat him almost, right, to really get him to take that L. Let's call it what it is, right? They're getting him back in, right? So there's money behind him now. But yeah, like, look, it was not the way he probably wanted to go. It didn't go that way. And he was actually kind of humble afterwards in talking about the fight. But he also, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was funny about it. That way he was like, it wasn't taken so hard.
But now, for everyone that's saying that, I'm like, AB landed all the power shots though. The guy was catching them. But if you look back and see the actual combination and the power shots, that was all AB. So I can see where the judge gave it to him. I don't feel like this is highway robbery. I thought it was going to be a draw, to be honest with you. That 12th round could have swayed it that way, but I don't know why people are so up in arms about it.
Yeah, like I said, if he wasn't going to beat AB convincingly, I didn't see this guy winning. You know what I mean? So, but if it would have been a draw, I wouldn't have been mad either.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying, to keep it a buck. All right, so now while we were watching, because we both are AB fans, and we were texting, there was another fight going on, right? Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Burchett, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that was actually the fight that we should have been watching. I remember texting you, like, yo, we just missed a crazy knockout. Might have been, it's still early, but yo, it might be the knockout of the year already. Yeah. I want to jump into the knockout real quick, and then I'm going to get your opinion. So one of the things that I saw about this particular knockout, and this was actually in the 10th round, so there was obviously some fatigue kicking in. But as Burchett was coming forward, Valdez was actually in the southpaw position. And when he stepped back, he ducked down and switched his feet to then being orthodox. So Burchett didn't even see the left hook coming because he didn't know the stance was switched. So when he came up, man, talk about like, wow, not only perfect timing, but getting hit by a punch that you don't see. And then obviously we've seen the results of that. What a great performance by Valdez. What did you think?
Again, like you said, we weren't even really paying attention to that. We were watching
disrespectful
fight, right? But the timeline was going crazy. So when I flipped back, I just saw old buddy just sitting on the stool. Bro. And I'm like waiting, like, yo, I have to see this knockout. And it was a super clean punch. Like you said, he didn't even see it coming. Nope. It was lights out. And it took him a minute to get back up. And what's the chatter that everyone started talking about right after that fight?
Right afterwards.
Right afterwards.
So, and that's a perfect segue. So, Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson, right? Like that's the fight that should be made. A lot of people actually didn't think Valdez was supposed to win this fight. Yeah. So for him to perform that the way he was actually, pretty impressive. So yeah, I think that the fight, if they're already calling each other out and it makes sense, that's a fight that I would love to see. One of the things that Valdez has gotten better at since joining the Canelo camp under trainer Reynoso there, Coach Reynoso, his defense has gotten a lot better. Mm-hmm. He's always been an offensive guy, has power. So to see him where he's at now fight Shakur Stevenson, man, I think that would be, it would definitely be a technical fight, but I would expect some fireworks. And it would be good to see him fight Shakur because he's going to force Shakur to fight a little bit more, meaning be more offensive. What do you think? Well,
the number one question that we've been saying for the past year about Shakur Stevenson is never about his skill, about his competitive nature. It's always been about his competition level. Right? Valdez just balled out on ESPN. You're waiting in the wing. It makes obvious sense, right? I think with this fight, it'll probably answer a lot of the questions that we have about Shakur Stevenson. So it has to happen. That's the only thing I have for that. Like, step up the level of competition. Valdez is waiting right there. Make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, enough said on that. We both agree there. So let's move on to another fight that happened this weekend. Obviously, the heavyweight division has some action in Otta Wallin versus Dominic Brazil. My man's upset already. So I'm going to let you jump into it. You know what I mean? Obviously, these are two heavyweights that are considered to be in top 10, at least in my opinion. And this fight had some, for both of them, really had, if you win, it's the next step is fighting a guy with a belt. So what did you think about the performance? What did you like and not like?
I'm going to just tell you what I didn't like, man, because I've been thinking about
Get straight to it.
In 2018, Deontay Wilder beat Dominic Brazil, right? Not only did he beat him, he took that man's soul,
bro.
That man's confidence, right?
Yeah.
I'm watching this fight on Saturday, and I'm like, yo, homie does not want to fight anymore.
Yeah, I tweeted the same thing. I said, look, he don't want to be there.
He doesn't want to be there. I didn't see no hunger. Listen, what I love about boxing is that you control your own narrative based on how hard you train, how hungry you are, and how you perform, right? Only thing you can't control is what your opponent is going to do, right? But to see you in there, half-ass throwing punches, you're not trying to block any of his punches. You're bigger than the guy. You're probably stronger than him. And it's funny because a few times where he actually threw some combos, he connected. He connected, right?
Yeah, he's not a bad fighter. You know.
Yeah, you could have done that from round one. I don't know how much his purse was, but I hope that when he went back to the locker room, the people that loves him and who are in his corner told him like, yo, this is it. Because that performance was an F. I could have done the same thing.
Yeah, it was bad on his part for sure. It didn't seem like he had great conditioning. I'm not going to beat, a dead horse. You hit all the points with Brazil. I'm going to move to Otto and his performance because, I did think that as a guy who's seen Otto train, as a guy who's maybe 6'2", 6'3", he has really great feet. He's a southpaw, so he has great angles. I do think that Brazil probably gave him a little bit more challenges than he thought in terms of his length, maybe his size. I thought, obviously, Otto had a better performance versus Fury. Mm-hmm. So I think he probably didn't know who he was going to fight for a little while because I think he was supposed to fight some other guys. So, his performance wasn't great. He absolutely won it easily. But I'm really excited to see what's next. There was a lot of talk about, if Brazil won, would he be back into, titleship contention? I didn't really think that was ever an actual outcome. I always thought that this was a fight to see if Otto can take another step forward, in which he did. So
let me ask you a question. So Otto, in a recent interview, says that for him to be more of a household name or even get more recognition, he needs to start knocking people out, right? Because that's what people want to see. So based off his own evaluation, do you think he was satisfied with this performance?
No, because like I said, if you go back and you look at the guy who fought Tyson Fury and the guy that fought Dominic Brazil, you would say that the guy that fought Fury was probably had more intent, was in better shape, was more aggressive, and actually had more of a game plan to actually win or take the fight. So I think that he probably sitting back and been like, yeah, I could have got the knockout. I probably could have did a little bit more. But like I said, I do think that training in COVID and a lot of different factors came into play here because he trains out of Mendez Boxing, which was shut down, right? So then he had to find, so there's a lot of things that went into play. Ultimately, look.
Just like in any other sport, you always fight down to the competition.
And that's, that's what happened, you know what I mean? So I don't think it takes anything away from Otto. Because look, the division's kind of set up the way it is, right? You got the top three guys, and then you got about three guys after that who, if you want to see one of those top three guys, you're going to have to fight, that top six anyway. So I think I was right there. I think a really good fight for him could be a Wilder or a Ruiz, but they're talking about potentially those two fighting. So, but we'll save that conversation for another podcast. I want to get into big fight this weekend, Canelo Alvarez fighting a former sparring partner. I do not know the guy's name, so I'm not sure if you do, but I just know it's one of his former sparring partners. One of the things about this fight is that we know that Canelo wants to stay active this year, so I'm happy to see that. Other than that, I don't think it's a real threat. What are your thoughts on the fight?
For some reason, this fight is kind of causing a lot of controversy in the sense of people are saying that he's cherry picking his fighters, which makes absolutely no sense to me because I feel like Canelo is fucking fighting everyone. He just fought Hulk Hogan. 2 months ago.
Word.
I don't know how he's cherry picking anything. And number two, they felt that Andre shouldn't have gotten this fight because he was actually mandatory. So they're like, he doesn't have a belt, so why is he Canelo's mandatory? When I hear stuff like that, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Vegas is upset that he didn't go for a bigger name like a Caleb Plant or like a Charlo.
You know the politics. You know what it is, the politics.
But I forgot which boxer said it. It might have been Andre Ward, but he says like, yo, every single fight that you have can't be this super mega fight. You have to take lesser opponents. You're gonna break yourself down in the long run you're fighting A-class fighters every single time, right?
Yeah.
And you go back and look at the greats, they didn't fight A-plus fighters every single fight. So I'm not upset with it. And he's going to take care of business. So
Yeah, and these are the fights that keep you active so that you do fight when you do fight a Charlo or somebody who gives you a little bit more to worry about. You're staying busy. That's the key, right? And this guy's still a world-class fighter, still, top 10 in the division. So I think what happens is you always want to see the sexier names fight each other, the big shows, so to speak. So I get that, but like you can't be mad at Canelo because he just fought. He's fighting again. He wants to fight potentially another time this year. They're already throwing out Caleb Plant's name, which I'm sure there'll be other guys in the mix, but there's obviously Billy Joe as well. So, I mean,
from what I'm hearing that Billy Joe might be a goal for me.
Right. And that's based off of if Canelo wins, which we think he will. Mm-hmm. So you got that, and then you have potentially Caleb Plant at the end of the year. So he can't fight. And then what are the other names? He's going to fight Charlo?
Yeah.
Okay, you could maybe throw Charlo in there, but, I ain't mad at Canelo. Obviously, we both think that he's going to win. I don't know if it's going to be a knockout, but I do see him, taking fully control of the fight. I don't think it's going to be hard for him at all.
No. Stay active, man. He's staying active.
Yeah, and I think because what did he fought like once last year or something like that, or in the last 2 years he hasn't been that active.
Yeah, but when did he fight Caleb Colin Smith? That was in December, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, just like 2 months ago.
So I mean, again, you can't fight A1+ fighters every single time. It's smart. Stay active. Prepare yourself for the bigger fight, for the bigger payday. But he's given us a lot of boxing to discuss and dissect, right? So I can't be upset by that.
Yeah. And so he's just one of the big fights that are coming up. I got to think by spring, going March into summer, we're going to have some huge fights.
Oh, my God.
Obviously, that Tyson Fury AJ fight's still been lingering in terms of an exact date, but that's something to look forward to. So, yeah, man, let them know where they can find us.
Yo, you can find us streaming on every platform, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, Anchor, and you can find the video format on YouTube. All right, please make sure you guys like, subscribe, share it. Let's get this algorithm kicked up. So far, you guys are really responding to the YouTube section of the pod. So just keep going, and we'll try to provide some great content.
Peace.
Yep.